Why does the United States pay higher drug prices than other countries? Because America's the only country in the world where 340B hospitals mark up drug prices and PBM middlemen charge billions in hidden fees. Meanwhile, Americans subsidize the research and development for new cures. Other countries benefit, but don't pay their fair share. Crack down on the middlemen. End the free riding. Lower drug prices. Go to balancethescales.org to learn more. Paid for by Pharma.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Business. How can you free up your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business empowers leaders to not only streamline purchasing, but better support their teams so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more about the technology, insights, and support available at amazonbusiness.com.
This is Optimal Finance Daily, the Quickstart Guide to Seller Financing Real Estate by Kalen Bruce of MoneyMiniBlog.com. Have you ever thought about owning rental property? Perhaps you're interested, but you're worried about high maintenance costs and destructive tenants. That's a common thought and a common worry, and there is a way around it. Yes, you can invest in income property without actually being a landlord. It's called seller financing, and it could work for you as a seller or a buyer. What is seller financing? It's pretty simple. It's the process of the seller handling the financing of their home instead of a financial institution. It eliminates the third party and allows the buyer and seller to work together directly. It's also referred to as owner financing. For example, I'm selling a home for $200,000. You want to buy my home, but you either can't get financing or you can't get a decent interest rate. You then ask if I would be interested in financing the house instead of using the bank that apparently didn't like you. I agree to it, we fill out the papers, and the house is yours. I lock you in at a 5% interest rate and we both win. I have a steady 5% return on my investment and you have a home. Seller financing is great for buyers and sellers. Here are the two most likely reasons. Sellers, you want to earn a steady but not amazing return on your investment for many years to come. Buyers, you're unable to get financing for some reason, or you're looking for a better interest rate. Let's talk about it as a seller first. Seller financing as the seller. If you've ever thought about owning, or if you do own rental property, you may be interested in seller financing some homes. When you buy a home and finance it to someone, you're essentially a landlord that doesn't have to worry about repairs and maintenance issues. And that's the main reason I hear for why people don't own rental property. I don't want to have to deal with fixing leaky toilets or replacing expensive appliances. That's fine, because with seller financing, you don't have to worry about that at all. Your only concern is the buyer making the payments. Not only are you getting a monthly payment, you're also getting interest on that payment. Then again, there's always the possibility that the buyer will default and not pay the loan. That's fine too. In that case, not only did you just receive income from the buyer for however long they paid, but you also get to take the house back and sell it to someone else. Sure, there may be some repairs to do, but that's why you have your emergency fund ready to go. Before we move on, we need to address a major concern that you may have. If you're dealing with a home that still has a mortgage, you may be wondering how you would be able to finance a house to someone else that you don't fully own. That's a good point. Here's some things you should know. Due on sale clause. Most mortgages have a due on sale clause. It basically states that if you ever sell the home before the mortgage is paid off, you will pay the mortgage off in full. This is usually done practically automatically, since you would pay the mortgage off with the money you get from the sale. Obviously, that's not an option here, so you have a couple of choices. Number one, pay cash for your properties. This is ideal, but it may not be realistic for you right now. If you're interested in pure cash real estate investing, it's fairly simple, but it's a process that requires patience. The first step is to make sure all your consumer debt is eliminated. Then begin investing to create a large reserve. Index funds work great for that. Or number two, find a mortgage without a due on sale clause. This would let you finance a home and then turn around and finance the home to someone else. This means that you would be paying your mortgage payment with the payment you're receiving from your buyer. Think rent to own. This is a somewhat shady option, but it's an option in some cases. You might just want to rent out your properties until you pay them off. Then you can seller finance them. Seller financing as the buyer. As a buyer, you should always look at seller financing if it's an option, because the rate may be better than the current market rates. Seller financing is also a great way to get financing if you're unable to get it elsewhere. Banks, credit unions, and mortgage brokers look at your credit and your background history, but many homeowners will use their own judgment. For example, if you had something go seriously wrong in your past, your financial history could be a mess. If there's a reasonable explanation behind it, an individual may be willing to listen to you and work with you, whereas a financial institution may not. Just remember, your interest rate will be based on several things, including your perceived risk level. So you may be able to get a loan through seller financing, but it could come with a high interest rate. Seller financing could also be an option if you don't have enough money for a down payment. Some seller financing requires a down payment, but most people will work with you. You just listened to the post titled The Quickstart Guide to Seller Financing Real Estate by Kalen Bruce of moneyminiblog.com. This message is brought to you by Apple Card. If you're like me, you might be considering getting a new iPhone. But have you considered upgrading your credit card? When you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay or the laser-etched titanium Apple Card, you can earn unlimited 3% daily cash back on everything you buy from Apple. Whether it's a new iPhone, an iPhone case, or even a service like Apple Music or Apple TV Plus. Earning 3% back on the Apple products and services you love? It's an easy decision. You'll only wonder why you weren't doing it sooner. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com. If you've shopped online, chances are you've bought from a business powered by Shopify. You know that purple Shop Pay button you see at checkout? The one that makes buying so incredibly easy? That's Shopify. And there's a reason so many businesses sell with it. Because Shopify makes it incredibly easy to start and run your business. Shopify is the commerce platform behind 10% of all e-commerce in the US. From household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. Shopify gives you that leg up from day one with hundreds of beautiful, ready-to-go templates to express your brand style and forget about the code. If you want to see less carts being abandoned, it's time for you to head over to Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/OFD. Go to shopify.com/OFD. Shopify.com/OFD. I found this article fascinating because seller financing is a pretty non-conventional way to get a loan. From what I can tell, while the large majority of homes that are bought each year are financed, seller financing is pretty rare for multiple reasons. If one doesn't qualify for a traditional mortgage, there's typically a reason for why a bank doesn't feel a buyer has enough creditworthiness. And so there may be more risk for the seller to be the one issuing the loan. But I could see situations where this isn't the case. For example, perhaps you switched from W-2 to 1099 employment. And while your income is secure, you won't qualify for a traditional loan until you can show 2 years of self-employment income. This seems like a situation where seller financing could be a good option. However, buyers should be prepared for less favorable terms in the form of higher interest rates and something not mentioned in this article, balloon payments. While this article presents the option to sellers as an alternative to being a landlord, most sellers who offer financing don't want to be on the hook for 30 years collecting payments each and every month. Seller financing typically comes with a shorter term, such as 5 to 10 years, with a balloon payment due at the end of that period. The theory, or the hope at least, is that the buyer will eventually refinance that payment with a traditional lender, armed with improved creditworthiness and having accumulated some equity in the home. and they'll pay the balloon payment with the money from their new mortgage. Both buyers and sellers should be careful about this though, because those terms really depend on the buyer eventually qualifying for a traditional loan, which is certainly not guaranteed. And that should do it for today. Have a happy rest of your day, and I'll see you on the Friday show tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.